Yes, yes, yes. Pandemonium. Pandemonium. I am honored. I'm honored to be here tonight with you. With these two amazing women straight from Philly. Yes, I love Philly saved my life. You know my story. My name is Nicholas Tanek. This is your Kinky Friends. Everything we talk about tonight is between consenting adults. We're adults. We're being adults in private, and we're talking about a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. It's a culture. Don't judge, please, please, please. Do not judge. There's a loneliness epidemic in this country. This is your kinky friends. Open your mind. All right. Everybody knows I love a good party. I come from the rave scene. And then I started going to kink parties. I started going to events and dungeons and munches and all that stuff. Um, one of my new fetishes is getting people together, helping the culture. And wow, did I meet two people who help the culture in in Philly. They're doing something absolutely incredible. Please, please, please bow down, show utmost respect to Mistress June, and she's back. CashVamp.
Mm.
Everybody, please go to yourkinkyfriends.com. You could we need money. We always need money. Every show could be the last. I'm not joking. So cash at me, YKF Tanic. We got Patreon, patreon.com, YKF. And then we got our sponsors. Lock it up. Get 15% all off at all inventory at Locked and Lust. With offer code YKF. It's a great way to start. There's metal there too. And remember, the best chassis device is the one that fits. Also, I would highly recommend the crotch rocket. This thing is awesome. Squirt in seconds. Yeah, good stuff. Pompeii Foods. Go to this link. You get 15% off with a discount with YKF and tell them how much you love them. And of course, you can check us out, YKF, your Kiki Friends on Spotify. But first, let's get into it. Oh my God. I am so stoked. I'm so stoked for this. Yeah, check
We're
this
going
out.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Look at this pandemonium. So let's talk, Mistress June, Mistress June, and Cash App. Let's just start off the show. Mistress June, what's inspiring you these days?
Oh, what's inspiring me this day? I think wellness, which I think sounds super like hippy dippy bullshit, you know? Like I feel like the word wellness, to me at least, like I'm getting into like yoga. I'm getting like my TRE certification soon, which is like trauma release exercise certification that I'm looking to like bring into my sessions. So just all the type of shit that like people would consider hippy dippy is what I'm now like feeling super close to and inclined to. So wellness has been inspiring me, I think for sure.
Now, Cash Fam. I I interviewed Cash Fam a couple weeks ago, and great, open up a whole new world. Inspired me to love Philly again and again and again, and suggested that we hook up. You get on the show, and I love it. So, how did you two meet? I'm always wondering how kinky people just meet and get along and build something together.
Oh God, where did we first meet again? I feel like we've known each other for like a year now, right?
I
I
think it
can
was through the TNG Discord that now no longer exists.
That now no longer exists for younger kinksters in Philadelphia. TNG stands for the next generation. They meet up, I think, the first Thursday of every month. You can check that out on FetLife. They're pretty excellent. I'm just gonna give them a free little shout
Shout
out.
out.
I think they deserve it, you know.
But yeah, I think we met through that Discord. And there's also like a shared community space in Philly that functions as a dungeon space that we both occasionally utilize for nefarious
Mm,
things,
mhm, mhm.
both including parties as well as private sessions and things. And that space and that dungeon that we met at is actually also the space that Pandemonium is being hosted at. So
Let's talk about Pandemonium.
there was the first one before there was this one.
Yeah, this is technically the second iteration.
Okay, so let's describe the event. How would you describe the spirit of the event?
Oh god, just like luxury and decadence, just a little bit of hedonism. Like I think that gets to the spiritual core of this party. That certainly is what it was like the first time. It was so cool.
I feel like the aura was like me with my feet up on someone's back, being like someone kind of holding a plate out for me as I eat little snacks, literally not having to lift a finger at all. Because I feel like not only was it like femdom supremacy, but just like dominant supremacy, overarchingly, and really like letting submissives like get to work for once, Like I feel like they're always put to work, but at something like Pandemonium, I guess the goal is for like submissives really to just kind of like be in work/service mode the entire time with no breaks. No, I'm joking, with breaks, but yeah, that was the aura.
The history. Let's talk about the history of it. What sparked the whole idea of it, and how did it come into fruition?
The first Pandemonium I technically like did and Jess had attended, or Vamp had attended, and the second iteration Vamp is now hosting with me. But the first iteration was, I'm a sap for good music. I'm a sap for good lighting. I think lighting and music are like super important for, I guess, like enticing people and like just like creating like a super erotic environment, like environment first, right? And then kind of eroticism can maybe follow. But at other events that I was attending, I would just find that like, I don't know, I wouldn't say, sometimes like the music wouldn't be placed super well at any given moment, or like the lighting would just be like not erotic at all. And I don't know, I really enjoy the idea of like really handcrafting an environment and making it super intentional to get people in the mood that they need to be in. So I think that was the initial inspiration for hosting my own event. So
Speaking of music, we have a question by CTBAB. Is there a special music playlist for the event, or is it the standard XYZ venue music? Tell us more about the music. I'm a sucker for music.
Definitely a playlist. The last playlist was both like a blend of like my music that I actually host and like conduct my sessions with, which I hold very near and dear to my heart. And in addition to some requests, but just lots of gruddy, kind of erotic noise, kind of ambient sounds. It was definitely a playlist. I think me and Vamp are gonna have a fun time curating the playlist for this event for sure.
What are some of the artists or songs that you definitely put on that list?
I really like.
Oh, go for it.
Yeah, please take it.
Oh, I am gonna sneak in a couple of 9 Inch Nails. I mean, it's hard to sneak in 9 Inch Nails tracks, but like I'm going to please for like a couple of tracks that I really, really love.
The remixes are always Coil and the Jack Daniels remixes.
Yeah.
Throw that in. That's always.
I also I really enjoy some of like the new Brian Jonestown Massacre albums, which are those are definitely
I was listening to Pish, that hit that song Pish recently. It's not a kinky song or anything, but yeah, I love Anton's stuff. Is amazing. Anton New Jonestown Massacre. A lot of dominatrixes listen to that. I noticed.
Really?
Yeah. It's like well, at least the ones I know. It seems it's funny. All right, let's talk about the location. Let's talk about the location. Is it in the same location, a different location? What is it about the location that inspires you?
You want to take this one, Vamp?
Yeah, I can take a little bit of this one. So, I mean, I think you and I both have a personal history with this location and both like working in it and attending parties there. And there's just no place like this place. I mean, a lot of the lighting fixtures and the artwork that's hung on the wall and like the chains are done by Sue Murder of Murder Chains, who runs like a local art studio. And you you really can't beat her eye for aesthetics. And the person who runs that particular location as well just seems to have a talent for curating pretty excellent furniture. It just aligns. We were shopping for spaces, and there was nowhere better that really
Yeah, and I
aligned
would also
with our aesthetic values.
I agree. And I also think too, this venue is unique in that there's like a pretty large scale like general area in the middle, but it kind of has like smaller rooms bordering it. And I feel like a lot of kink friendly venues, at least the ones that currently exist in Philly, it's usually just like one big space that kind of has like corners with different things, or there will be curtains, which those spaces are beautiful and nothing against them. But this space does have like side rooms that people can get into some debauchery in. And I also really like the medical fetish room at this location too, which
We're gonna,
has like
Yeah.
we'll get into the rooms. We'll get
yeah.
Stan, if you're listening, we're gonna get into the medical room. We'll get there. Anticipation is everything, people. So one thing that I noticed, both professional lifestyle players. Shout out to Mistress Manor. That's the dungeon I frequent. Everybody there. I love my people. I love Mr. Manor. Shout out. I love. Oh my god. And they're just at Mr. Manor. They're professional and they're lifestyle players. How do you approach blending those two worlds?
I think that consent is obviously like the first thing that comes to mind. At this event in particular, we're gonna have consent cards that like submissives are gonna kind of like pick up on their way into the event and wear throughout the event. And you know, like the submissives are also gonna be encouraged to like when they're interacting with like any femdom to kind of like blatantly ask if they need to. You know, if they don't know if someone's a pro or a lifestyle player, simply ask. I think kind of like fostering that open communication and instilling in people that it's okay to ask those questions is kind of that first line of defense in that regard. That's my answer.
Then you have catering. You have catering. The local, right? You get local businesses, you get local people doing it. Tell us about why it's important. And I don't know what it is about, but dungeon parties have the coolest food. Like really good dungeon parties have like the most interesting food. It is delicious, and it's you could tell. I don't know, maybe it's the atmosphere and everything like that, but you could tell that like it's from love. There's I don't know, like, maybe I'm over dramatizing it or something like that. But tell us about the catering at Pandemonium.
No, you're not wrong. Fucking burns calories. Beating people burns calories. Like it's something that I think is often, in my experience at play parties, it can be a little bit overlooked unless that play party is centered around also being a potluck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why the love is often felt in the food because it'll usually be a potluck. This event is gonna, however, sponsor like a local caterer from South Philly, and I was born and raised in South Philly. So that's and then even at the last Pandemonium, we had not only catering, but there's also like this local pastry maker who makes like these awesome pastries who I adore so much. And it was really awesome to be able to reach out to them and be like, hey, I'm throwing a little party, like, can we get some pastries for it? So it's funny bringing like not only like the kink community together, but also being able to like bring in elements of, I guess, like local businesses getting to share that space and that, so, yeah.
All right, let's talk about the rooms. Tell me about the rooms. How many rooms do you have? We definitely have a medical room, but yeah, I'll let you tell it. Tell me about the rooms. Either or.
I'm counting them because there's been like a little bit of a shift in that space. 3, and then that one no longer exists. There's the back room. There are currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 available like separate side spaces, right? Can I count? I'm terrible at math. I'm pretty
I
sure
think
it's
there's
5.
like
And the medical room is.
Yeah. There's 5 technically, but I feel like I only count 4 at this rate. That one room is not. I'm not very fond of it, but.
Oh, the back room, yeah, with
Yes.
the
Yeah,
the one-way mirror.
That's not even going to be used at the event, I don't think, because we're going to have kind of like that be a dressing room for the performers, if I'm not mistaken. So 4 rooms at the event is kind of the, I think, the name of it.
4 rooms.
Right.
There's a movie called 4 Rooms. Wait, so why would you why would you well, I know why, but what do you use the one-way the two-way mirror for?
Oh my god, so much.
I've used, the last time I had used the two-way mirror, I did a couple session, which I absolutely adore, and the woman in that couple kind of got to sit on like the other side of the two-way door, and I was beating up her man on the other end of it. And he was kind of like flush against the door with like his face pressed against the door and his hands up, and I was like slinging a whip at his back, and she just had like the most comfortable seat on the other side of the mirror, you know? And I also did a photo shoot recently in which the mirror was used, but that's another entity. But yeah.
Very cinematic. I love that.
Mhm.
Oh, Stan Vladimir. I knew. See, I was right. Stan Vladimir. Stan does the artwork for all the banners and everything.
Nice.
Amazing man. He asked, "What is your favorite part during medical play, and which type of medical play do you prefer? More in the realm of sci-fi or medieval?"
Vamp, I feel like I maybe do a little bit more medfet than you. Do you want me
You
to take
do
this one?
by all means, you do significantly more medfet than I end up doing.
Yeah. So I actually am gonna answer neither. I always tell people I'm not crazy. I think, Vamp, are you able to mute your mic? I'm hearing myself a tiny little bit, but no worries.
Oh, I was muted while you were hearing yourself. It's not from me.
My problem then. I am not like crazy about like roleplay in general. I consider my natural, not even natural, but like I am dominant, like in and of myself. Um, and I prefer to kind of just relish in that in sessions. However, I can get away with medical play because I wanted to be an EMT for a really long time or a physician's assistant. Um, so it's actually really nice because MedFet for me is a way to scratch that itch. Um, because I don't think I'm gonna end up down that path at this point career wise, but it's really nice because when I'm sticking people with needles, I can scratch that itch. Which is really cool. So it's more in the realm of not sci-fi or medieval, but rather just patient doctor, patient nurse, whatever you want to call it.
CTBAB asks, "Are there going to be any stage shows at Pandemonium?"
Yeah, we have 2 performances at the top of the event, as well as a special midnight mass performance that I'm very excited for. And I think we'll probably fill some of the interim space with just like little bits and bobs, little improv things.
here's a here's a weird here's a weird question that someone sent me. Because I ask around. I go to, I'm like, hey, I'm interviewing these people. I always need questions. And this is your kinky friends. It's not called your kinky Nick, right? So this is a community thing. What is a move you choreographed that attendees might beg to learn? So if they go to if they go to Pandemonium, they see you. What kind of move that you always do? It's a signature move, maybe that they're gonna want to do.
Yeah, two things come to mind. One being I love just sitting back as comfortably as possible, and I currently have an obsession still. It's been a very ongoing, long obsession with dragon tail whips, which are just I love my dragon tail. And I like sitting back super comfortably and getting to like wrap it around my neck, and I like having someone kind of like kneel in front of me at like a decent distance and kind of just like slinging and aiming for nipples is really fun. So that's something that I'm often seen doing at events. I also recently got the Scott Paw what is it? It's called the Scott Paul Humiliator gag, and it's a gag that people wear, and you can like attach different things to the mouthpiece of it. And the only attachment that I have thus far is the drink plate attachment. So if I have someone kneeling in front of me and I want them to be my drink holder, it's basically just like a stick, and then there's like a small plate that I can place my drink on. It requires a lot more jaw strength than people imagine, but I've had questions asked when I bring that out at events, and I don't doubt that a person or two has taken it upon themselves to buy one.
All right, about Pandemonium, and I'm asking you both this. I want both an answer. What do you want attendees to take away from Pandemonium?
Honestly, I hope that lifestylers who attend Pandemonium get to like either scratch the itch of interacting with pros for the first time, because I certainly always see that as an opportunity for lifestylers who might not share spaces with us so much. I don't know. I just really want everyone to have a good time. I want people to see performances they might not have otherwise seen. I want people to be their best perverted selves.
I'm gonna second that, and yeah, ditto. I have nothing else to add, honestly. I feel the same way.
Sick.
Okay. All right, let's move it on. Let's make it continue. Mistress June, you're pro dom, kinky speed dating maestro. We're going to talk about that. Event host. You're a psych grad with a sensual sadistic streak.
Something.
Right. Yeah, would that sum you up basically? My next question was like, how would it sum you up? Would that kind of sum you up, or
Yes.
would you add anything to that?
I can bird watcher too, but yes.
All right. So, when did you know that domination was your calling?
So there's this phenomena, and I forget exactly what the title for it is, but when people forget like details of past events, sometimes they'll like fill in the blanks. And honestly, at this point, I don't even know if this is true or not. Like when I tell people, I'm like, it might be true, but it's not. But I'm almost, I joined the scene as a bottom. I actually joined the scene as a pet player. I was a cat girl. That was my thing. And and then I started bottoming for Impact, etc. And obviously the experience of bottoming is like invigorating and awesome. And all of a sudden I was just like, I want to give people that experience. So I started topping. And then if I'm not mistaken, I was topping at a play party. And I think someone asked me, and this again, I'm almost positive this is sure, but it's been so long. I think they asked me if I was a pro. And I said no. And then I probably theatrically turned around and a light bulb probably shot up above my head. And to my knowledge, like that's kind of what sparked I'm pretty sure someone asked me at some point whether if it was at a mantra, but yeah.
All right, so you do a lot. I mean, I'm looking at everything you do. Oh my god! So there's there's the speed dating. There's being a dominatrix, which is busy enough. Like I said, everybody never waste the dom's time. I'm serious. Out there, never waste the dom's time. Just don't. It's bad form. You don't represent. Yeah.
Bad for our health.
Bad for bad for your health. So, what's a typical day for you?
Vamp, well, you wanna take this one first?
Oh, I answered this the last time when I was interviewed. I think this one is for you.
I can. So I have a. This is not a sexy answer at all. I have diagnosed OCPD, which is obsessive compulsive personality disorder. And before I had the opportunity to work constantly, I always used to joke and be like, oh, I guess I missed out on, because oftentimes people with OCPD, they're chronic overworkers. That's the kind of title that they're given. And when I first got diagnosed, I was not a chronic overworker. I think it was because I didn't have the opportunity to chronically overwork at that time.
And what is it again? What is it?
Huh? OCPD.
Oh.
So it's OCD, but it's like the personality disorder variant of it.
I have OCD myself. I have.
Really?
Yes. It took the longest time for me to walk upstairs without. I would never walk up the first one or the last one, and then eventually I couldn't walk because I had a liver transplant. So I'm like, fuck OCD. I gotta walk.
Yeah.
Yeah, like weird stuff like that. Like cross train tracks, or just it doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't control my life too much, but it controls it enough to annoy me. You know?
No, I bet. Yeah, I don't doubt that. Basically, more recently, I've been chronically overworking. However, it's also because I have a lot of like active in motion goals right now that require me to work hard right now. However, in my downtime, I am doing yoga. I like biking around the city a lot as well. I do like passive amateur photography, and I still consider myself a writer. You know how it is, Nick. I wrote every day for 3 years, and I'm in I don't want to say a drought, but you know, I don't even know if I can give myself the title of a writer anymore, but I have published, you know, so I write here and there.
And we'll talk about your blog. We'll talk about your blog. But just get the words out. Get it on page, even if it sucks. Just get it out onto the page. That's I mean,
and the typical day for me, however, is ultimately beating people up.
All right, let's talk about your expertise. All right, so your topping style is described as sensual, sometimes affectionate. It's stern and sadistic. How do you balance that? How do you balance sadistic and sensual? I mean, I know how to do it, and a lot of people, but how do you do it?
So in psychology, I forget if it's in like classical or operant conditioning, but the idea is that if you are inflicting like pain or punishment on someone, if you kind of meet them with a reward within 10 to 15 seconds later, their brain becomes very confused, in a good way. And, you know, the balance, I move very quick in sessions, for that reason, because getting that conditioning to like click actually requires you to move very quickly. You know, so if I'm like crushing someone's balls with my hands, and 5 or 10 seconds later, I'm like caressing their back and like putting titties in their face, you know? So I feel like moving quick during sessions is how I am able to incorporate everything that I need to. And oftentimes the first 15 minutes of my sessions are like sensual sensory play anyway, and I won't bring pain play into the session until like a half hour in usually. So
Okay, I have to ask this. As someone who you say that you're chronically overworking. You're a chronic overworker. How many sessions can you do in one day?
I can only do one session in one day, and I will tell you why. Well, it blows my mind how some DOMs will do more than one session in a day. I by no means wanna, you know, my tribute is not like super cheap, you know. The second person on any given day would always inevitably get less dominant energy than the first person would. So my intentions are usually not to double book in one day. Sometimes it happens, and I'll try and space them out enough so that I have time to recharge. But if you're really dominating someone and like, I don't know, you know, a lot of dominatrixes obviously are just acting the whole time, but like, not to say, you know, for me, I'm not. And I know Vamp is the same way. We're both actually interested in kink, right? So like, I'm giving true energy in that. And to do that multiple times a day with different people would be, I honestly can't imagine it. And that's my answer. Yeah.
Now you wrote about the magic of blending. I imagine it's like a soft caress and then a sharp sting or something like that. First of all, what do you, in your definition, what is the magic of blending and how do you do it?
That's a very good question. Kind of as mentioned earlier, I think there's so many variants of pain play, and there's so many variants of like what can be pleasurable to the body, right? Like I love using like warm compresses. I'll run to the microwave before a session and I'll put like little kind of like hand warmers in the microwave. And I like pairing those with like things that are cold, so like ice. Sensory play is really fun for me, and I think being able to like engage someone in sensory play, but at the same time I tell myself all the time, like, I'll try and use all 4 limbs during a session, quite literally. Like, if my left hand is doing one thing, my right hand, I'm trying to usually do something else. And even, like, if I'm able to, like, use my feet, if someone's a foot fetish person, like, if I'm doing something, I'm very, like, what's the word? Nimble, limber, if I'm using my whole body at all times. And that's, I think, how I blend seamlessly.
All right. So, relaxation techniques. You use relaxation methods to calm the sub's nervous system. You're opening their mind to your control. So can you walk us through this technique? Like, is it breath work or is it sensory play? Um,
I
how's it?
think the first step in making sure that someone is calm is making sure I am calm. The energy that I bring into a session myself is going to be the energy that's rubbed off on someone else. There are some days that I am running late to the dungeon and I enter the room and I need to, everything's very quick. And those sessions, oftentimes I notice a difference in those sessions. Like if I'm feeling very chaotic, like, sometimes the sub won't pick up on it because it's like, oftentimes they're satisfied inevitably, but like I can pick up on it and I know that I will in my best place. So I think bringing a calm in myself is the first step. However, physically, I like kind of like softly binding someone, starting with sensory play again, using like all four of my limbs, and something called TRE, which if I
TRE.
keep describing today, it would take a really long time. If you're familiar with what TRE is,
No. What is it?
they're called trauma release exercises.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah.
Yep. And the hypothesis that this person, the person who founded it, they basically think that like people need to tremor and shake to like release trauma. So, oftentimes I really try and like rock people's bodies. Like if you kind of have your hands on the side of someone and you're pushing them and like letting them rock, that is like an immediate nervous system soother. I also really like using my hand. If someone's inhaling, I like kind of using my hands to do this as they inhale, and then really giving a nice shoulder press on the exhale and pushing down. Just, like there's different types of body work that are a whole other can of worms, but I like doing body work. So
Knees and feet. What's a good way to use your knee on somebody?
obviously knee to the
Yeah, besides that. Besides
that, I can't even think of another way to use I mean, if I'm using my knees, I really like, it's funny, if I'm doing like ball busting in a session,
Yeah.
I'll try and like do imbalance and do like yoga poses on top of someone, and they think that's very funny. And the position Warrior 3 is like the perfect position. So like, yeah, it's fun. My knees are meant for nothing else other than that. I don't know what kind of question that was, Nick, but good try.
Some of it's not all written down. You have a psych degree.
I do.
You have a psych degree. So with your psychology background, how do you weave mental insights into your dominance?
So earlier, obviously I mentioned like classical and operant conditioning. Those are like super basic. That's like super basic elements of like psychology. But outside of that, I think learning to like read someone's mind in the middle of the session is like kind of ideal. And I really like taking notice to like not microaggressions, but micro what's it called? I think impressions. There's a term, and it's like, if someone does something very specific with their face, or like a soft like scowl, or you can really tell, or at least I have learned how to tell how someone's feeling in that regard. And on top of that, honestly, with a bachelor's in psych, you don't learn that fucking much. But I am gonna potentially get my masseuse licensure in the next year, and I'm gonna get my TRE certification, so I'll be able to weave like much more. Yeah, that's my.
Mark Maron has a joke. Said he I don't know anything about BDSM or dominatrix life. His quote is something like, "All I know is that it's women who stick things in the sad men." My book, Your Kinky Friends, this book, is all about loss. Dealing with it's a funny book about grief, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and so trauma, and not only bringing that out and experiencing it, having breakthroughs. So this next question: have you ever had in the sub experience some kind of psychological breakthrough mid-scene, confronting a fear, like you knew it was like this amazing breakthrough and their life has changed forever, without naming names, obviously? Can you tell us what happened?
So I think there's definitely been cases where it won't be like a sudden moment in a session, but someone will go into it very tense. Like I oftentimes prefer to move people around like they are a rag doll, right? That's what I prefer. I prefer people to be very limp at the beginning of a session so I can do body work, etc. And sometimes people will enter a session obviously very tense. I'll try and move their head to the left or to the right, and they're resisting because they're not ready to hand themselves over yet. But after some like relaxation techniques, breathing included, by the end of the session, there's like a notable difference in like the way in which they're giving themselves to me. And people do report after feeling either like, usually after I spend time with people are either very sleepy, but in a good way. And they're like, I'm gonna sleep great, or they have a lot of energy and they're ready to lasso the world. And I think those are two very good signs that someone has had kind of like a good psychological, rub to the brain. But I experience, not to go too much into this, but when I start doing TRE in my sessions, kind of first doing trauma release exercises and then getting into BDSM, I think I am going to encounter people having like some crazy breakthroughs. And that's where I think the magic's going to happen. And that's why, yeah.
All right. Have you oh yeah, hold on a second. I think we just went live. We might have had an issue here. We had a technical issue. Hold on a second. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we did the speed dating as a kinky speed dating and event host. What's the most memorable moment that you've witnessed?
You know, I think there hasn't been a moment in the kinky speed dating events where I'm like, you know what, there is actually a memorable moment. Someone met someone at a speed dating event, and people don't get their matches until after the event, you know? So there's no, like, there's sparks in the air, but people don't know who said yes to who, etc. There's one woman one night who left the event after without her friend and started, like, chasing down someone, apparently, like, outside the event, who was, like, on their way to their car. And it was a match, and it was someone, it was mutual, but, he had left, and then she was like, just dropped the tin. And she was like, I'm gonna run after him. And we were like, where did she go? And turns out she had, basically very like boombox to the window style, kind of like found this guy on the street before he got to his car and was like, do you want to hang out tonight, bro? And apparently they went off and they hung out. So I think that was quite funny.
Fails. Any speed dating fails?
I wouldn't say there's ever a fail putting yourself out there and going to one of those events, Like, oftentimes people who are attending speed dating events are like, it's their first time maybe putting themselves out there in a while, or like they've never been to an event like that. And oftentimes, and you said this earlier, I feel like when you're engaging with strangers and interacting with strangers, there's no fail. Interacting with strangers is like always a good move, I mean, unless it's not, but you know what I mean. So
All right. What about misconceptions of throwing or attending an event like this? I know I've interviewed a lot of people who throw like food parties, pet parties, play parties, stuff like that, or luxurious femdom events and stuff like that. But speed dating is a new one for here, obviously. Are there any misconceptions of throwing something like this? Any bumps in the road? Because I can imagine. I can only so
the primary bump with the speed dating events is, so I do different demographics, and usually the demographics are like either I'll do pansexual or I'll do heterosexual, so like straight leaning or pan. And the straight leaning events are a pain in the ass sometimes because I have to get the ratio right, for like men to women. And sometimes the events will cancel because the ratio will just be like totally off. So that's definitely it's a task.
in your mind, right? I'm whimsical. This is a whimsical show. What would be a perfect event for you? Not just a speed dating event or just any event like a pandemonium or anything like that. What would be the absolute perfect event? Pandemonium, this new one is going to be great. It's going to be perfect. Yeah. But if you had endless resources, you can go anywhere in the world, do anything you want. What would be the perfect event?
Me and Vamp can technically both take turns on this one. But I love the idea of like a pool, like a grand pool with like waterfalls on the side. And I think it would be really sexy if there were just like a bunch of mistresses. This has happened, but like mistresses in latex by the pool, and there's just like a bunch of like helpless subs in the water getting like their head dunked under by like boots or whatever it is. I think that would be very fun. Or just like a crazy, like a crazy chateau, long corridors, lots of places to photograph and drag people around. But at our events with the resources that we do have, I think a perfect event is often one that people don't want to leave. Like, I love events where people really stay till the last half hour and everyone's hanging out and no one's like slowly leaving early, and I feel like that's a really good sign.
There is that point. I mean, there's that point where you do got to get people out, though. It's like, okay, it's time to leave. It is, what is a polite, professional, yet dominatrixy way to make that happen?
I wouldn't say this is dominatrixy in nature, but I'm gonna go with turn on the lights and shut off the music.
Yeah, that'll do it. That'll definitely do it. All right. Okay. Now you're clear about client pro dynamics versus recreational play. So how do you set those boundaries with clients to keep that professional?
Um, so with clients, there's a couple ways that people can interact with me. It's either like in the midst of a session, right? And then interaction with me outside of sessions or dinners is very structured. People know that they need to like pay tribute to like text with me. I actually have like a little graphic pros to Vamp giving me this idea, but I made a graphic recently so that when people send me a random hey text, I can push to them this graphic that kind of says, "This is how you interact with me, and if you can't, then fuck off." And then also, people know I am in a monogamous situation with my primary partner and my boyfriend. And, my clients all know this, and they're very respectful of that. Um, so yeah, that's kind of the easiest way to keep that professional and separate.
Sometimes do you still play recreationally?
So I play recreationally with my partner, and then once in a blue moon, I will like, bottom to other dominatrixes, or like will want to at least. We never get around to it. Me and Bev literally never do, but we always talk about it. But I always make jokes to the other pros at events, and they're all working and like in work mode, and I'm like, funny guys, it'd be funny if we all got together and did a Skillshare one day. Except that's just me saying, I want you all to come together and beat me up. Um, but it never happens because we're all very busy and chronic overworkers. So.
All right, favorite implements. Your blog and Canvas site hint at at a strong aesthetic. What are your go-to tools? The whips, paddles, maybe something softer like that define.
I like vampire gloves. I like vampire gloves because I can be very mean with them on the inner side, but on the outside it's very soft leather that I can kind of use the caress. So I really like vampire gloves. I love a good old fashioned crop. I do. I love a crop for like just an easy like cock spanking or whatever it is. I also really enjoy evil sticks, which are basically just like very small thin sticks that you can kind of like flick and like make fun marks with. And I'm also a whore for like needles. Not that I get to do it very often because the clients these days that reach out to me are all bitches, but there's enough people that I get to practice on. So
I'm a whore for needles. That sounds like a song. I'm trying to make of songs for dungeons, and I think that's a good. If you saw that on a on a mix, I'm a whore for needles. You'd click it. Just what it sounds like, right? I'm a whore for needles. The new single by Mistress June and Nicholas Tannick. What this is a dumb this is worded dumb, so let's reword the question. What's the one item you never leave home without for a scene? Leave anywhere with it. What's the one item you would always need in a scene?
My hand. No, I'm joking. I'm not. That's the truth. You know what? Nylon stockings. Sometimes I'll leave home in like a pair of socks still and boots. And in order to prepare for a scene, it doesn't matter what I'm wearing. I always like to put on a fresh, nice nylon sock, even if it's just like a knee-high sock. Because I think it looks and sets my feet up for worship and a good time. So I'm gonna say nylon socks.
Oh, nice. Okay. All right. So the ripple effect. All right. Being kinky, it affects everything you do. It really does. It affects everything from going to the store, going to the bank sometimes, right? How has it shaped your non-kinky world?
Can I tell a story real quick?
Please do.
Okay, so I went to probably the hottest place you could possibly, like the most erotic place you could ever go, which is a public self-storage office with two friends because we had to move a storage unit. And these are like two vanilla friends of mine who know what I do for a living. One of my friends is like talking to one of the managers, and the other friend and I are just like hanging out. We're looking. There is rope on the wall, and I pick it up and I look at my friend. And she looks at me, and it's just it's so funny being able to go to a hardware store, a grocery store, a public self-storage and be like, oh yeah, I can use this for work. Oh yeah, this would be a great little creative thing to use for work. I feel like we love the most mundane little tips and tricks that we can implement in our work. Like you find like a bag clip from a grocery store and it actually has like teeth to it and it fucking hurts. And you're playing at a party with other pros and someone's like, oh my god, where'd you get that? And it's like bragging about a sale. It's like, oh, actually, I found this in the snack aisle of my local grocery store. It's very, very fun.
Yeah. I think for me, I've always, and Vamp relates to this, and I'm sure she's gonna say the same thing, but I've always been a fashion girl. I love
Oh yeah.
clothes. I love looking good. I love walking down the street in like a busy center city, you know, on a busy center city block and just looking my best and like feeling like I could steamroll everyone that's around me, basically. And I don't know if that's like the very small degree of narcissism that it takes to be like both successful and a dominatrix at play in real time. But long story short, being a dominatrix has very much like increased like what's in my wardrobe and like I guess the clothes that I have. I've always loved leather. I've always loved black. It's what I wear in my day to day, outside of work even. So, you know, being able to like collect all these leather implements and like leather clothes for work and being able to wear them in my vanilla life really makes for like a yeah, it's fun. I get to be myself in like both kind of parts. So
Now, Mistress June, you have a blog, and it's at mistressjuneroom.weebly.com. I have it up on the window. And so, one thing about writing, I wrote 3 books, and after I wrote, I didn't. The feedback that I got from my writing blew my mind. It made me see the world differently, made me see who I was differently, and made me see the power of writing and what it can do. So, what's the most surprising feedback you've gotten from readers, kinky or otherwise?
yeah, kinky or otherwise. So I will mention that blog actually no longer exists as of
Okay.
yesterday,
Oh yeah,
and it's basically because
I do my
it was
research.
never literally it was never a blog. It was just a place for me to post my writing, and for people to be able to read such. And I really actually enjoy the space that FetLife has for writers and being able to kind of post your writings on FetLife. So that is where I've shifted my kinky writing to. I kind of just copy and pasted it off from my blog into my FetLife. Um, and I haven't gotten much feedback on like the kinky writing. However, I have published a journalistic poetry book. It goes by the title of The Toothache and the Birds. Um, that was a year and a half ago, and that was surrounding the sudden onset of chronic illness. I did have like sudden onset nervous system disorder like 4 or 5 years ago. That part of the reason I'm a dominatrix, honestly, because I can no longer. I was a fine dining server at the time. Whole other can of worms. Anyhow, after that book was published and all my friends had gotten a copy, it was really nice hearing that some of them were just like flipping through it before bed. Um, and you know, kind of just like reading it softly, kind of like soft-eyed before bed before they fall asleep. And I know what it feels like to read something really invigorating and comforting, or maybe not comforting, but just like,
Yeah.
you know, reading a good piece before bed. And imagining my buddies like reading what I consider to be, yeah, like a very good collection of pieces. I'm very proud of them. Before bed was really nice.
Um, without naming names, of other people, or even even your own mistakes. What are some typical kinky blogger mistakes, or just let's reword the question? Writing. You
Yeah.
write something like, "Oh, I didn't expect that response," or and now I know better. So now when I write something, I write to get a certain response. You know what I mean? So,
Yes.
what are some mistakes you made as a writer?
Um, so I think in regards to the kinky writing, I'd once posted a blog post about the first session that I ever did. I by no means did I name someone, and to my knowledge, the information that I had posted would never possibly find its way back to this person. But lo and behold, people think they are so fucking important, you know? Like people think that they are somehow like viable at the hands of like these two variables that also apply to a million other people. So I guess it's just really important to like keep people as,
Philadelphia's a big city.
yeah. I guess literally just keeping people as like anonymous and ominous as possible when referring to them, you know,
Everyone's
especially if it's like a client, you know.
so
So
wrapped up in their own world. Seriously, and I noticed that next time I get like wrapped up in my own bullshit, I kind of take a pause and I step back, and everyone's the same way. No one cares about the the stuff that that we ruminate on all the time. You know what I mean?
yeah, not to be like we possess no individualism, but like there's very little individualism, honestly. That's
Right?
like, you know, it's sad, but it's the truth. But it's nice though, because then that fosters this beautiful sense of collectivism that we should all be basking in at all times. You know
Speak,
that sense?
yeah. Speaking of collectivism, right? Let's have some throne wish list fun. All right. What's the story behind your favorite gift so far? Because you've got it. You've got some cool stuff here. Let me bring that stuff up.
I do have some really cool stuff. I think I can't think of any one. Actually, you know what? I had been gifted a pair of earrings last year that I really, really enjoyed. So that was perfect. There's very random stuff. It's funny because it'll be some kinky stuff, and then it's just like a cat toy, a cat sumo wrestler.
So
Right
you
now,
red mesh latex full set. Yeah. All right. These are some beautiful. These are some beautiful things on your list.
yeah,
People, this is come on, internet. Let's
literally, right?
let's get
Do your job.
let's get
Do what your money is made for.
let's get us a flight to Spain.
That is the item I was going to mention, and I just think it's very funny because the description of that item is literally just like crowdfund this, so I don't need to think about the fact that I paid for it while I'm on the flight, or rather that if I do think about money and the flight, I can be like, oh, that wasn't me, someone else paid for it, or multiple people paid for it.
When I saw the Spain thing, I saw it, not many people are going to get this, but those who do will love it. There's a song by The Fall called "I'm Going to Spain," and it's about it's a beautiful song too. It's about a guy who's like, he sold my car, put in my job. I'm 34 years old. I think it's time I saw the world, but not Australia. That's the lyric, and basically the chorus is, "I'm going to Spain. Cousin Norman had a real good time." It's a yeah. So
Nice.
packing up, leaving, going to Spain. That sounds beautiful.
Yep. And as you can see, I just obviously I love leather. It's very obvious. You know, I will never have enough leather. I love the smell of it. I love, man, I couldn't say enough good things about leather. I love me some good leather. So
Speaking of leather songs, another song, Cody Chestnut, "Look Good in Leather." Excellent song. You'd love it if you love leather. You put on a leather jacket or put on anything leather. Put this song on, "Looks Good in Leather" by Cody Chestnut. He did the Seed with the Roots. Yeah.
oh really?
Oh yeah.
I'll write it down right now.
Yeah. Roots, Philly, right on. That thought. Oh, let's just talk about Philly for a second. All right. Black Thought, that album Cheap Codes, and that was like the soundtrack of recovery. Literally, they give me that energy, and I remember going seeing this Philly skyline, driving or getting driven to, and seeing that skyline. That city saved my life. Seriously, I wouldn't be alive today if it wasn't for Philly. So much love to Philly. I gotta take a pause that moment there for a second. So, Mistress June, in your pro dom event hosting career, what's the moment that made you think, this is why I do this? It made you like, look around us. This is amazing. Made you feel you had a purpose, that you become,
Yeah.
you've become, so to speak. You become Mistress June. What was that moment?
Oh, you know, there's a play party that's hosted by another pro in the area, and the play party goes by the name of Twist. And my first time attending that party, it was the first time that I got to exist as a professional dominatrix in a party setting. And, you know, I had been to play parties before that because I was a lifestyle player previously. But the first time that I got to exist as a pro in a play party setting and like have people approaching me and being like, "Hey, are you available to play?" Just, you know, on the spot, because previously all my sessions are always, you know, by appointment only. And a party like that is the one situation in which people can catch me for an improv session. Um, and yeah, I just remember like by the end of my first party feeling fucking awesome. Also, I just take a moment for Philly once again. I'm native, born and raised in Philly. I've lived in South, West, North, and now back in West. Um, I feel like a lot of people grow to kind of like have disdain for like their hometown or like want to move somewhere else. And I actually have an increasing love for Philly the longer I'm here. And I just wanted to, yeah, show love for Philly for a moment.
And now to give a shout out to Roy Ziegler, Philly boy Roy from the best show, WFMU. Uh, see you at the Wawa with them hoagies and Frank Soda. Yeah, Philly. Oh, I love Philly.
Me too.
All right. All right, let's just keep it going. Speed dating shenanigans. What's the funniest heartwarming connection? You really did that. All right. What's one bold question you'd instantly gauge if someone's kink vibes were yours, or without scaring them off? So like the speed dating thing is quick. You got to be on point. You have to ask a question, right? You have to get things going. It's not. So what's a bold question that would instantly engage
Yeah,
them?
I used to provide like the speed daters with kind of a list of questions that they could use if they wanted during the time that they're speed dating. And one of the questions was, would you rather have to give up kink or lose both of your pinky toes? And people thought that question was very funny, but you know, kink is so important to me that like I would easily lose my two pinky toes to like be able to like participate and like engage in kink still. Even though my feet are a very important asset to my current line of work. But I think that's very fun.
Will you
Yeah.
give up? I'm gonna use that as the questions as for clickbait.
Yeah.
What is this? Oh, they're eating. No, we're not eating. Um. All right. What's the wildest kink you'd hope to draw, and would you pitch it to make your date curious rather than be shocked? So, like, what advice would you give? Like, if someone says, like, I like people. I want someone to make a mangina of me, at least once a week. You
Yes.
know, take my balls and my cock, just shove it in there. Take a big staple gun. Yeah.
Yes.
Not everybody's up for that, right? Not everybody's up for that, Mistress June. Not everybody's down.
I know.
My friend Nico Noir, shout out to her. She used to do that all the time. So how would you pitch that if someone comes up to you because you're running this place and they go, Mistress June, I have this weird kink. I don't know, I like to dress up like a teddy bear and have someone read, Russian literature to me while they slap me in the face with meat. I don't know, like that's something you're gonna have to gauge and work with. What kind of
Yeah.
question would you give them?
I think I would advise them to like I guess like state what they're interested in at some point. But do it with like just like the most confidence you can possibly fester up, right?
Yeah.
Because and also like just making it too sound like natural and not that big a deal. Like I feel like if you really like, hey, if you go up to someone and like, hey, I have this thing that like a lot of people think is really weird, blah, blah, blah. It's obvious. I think that's gonna like get in someone's head, who you might be describing it to. So I guess my advice in those situations would be to like be proud of it. One, be proud of your fucking kinks because there are no kinks to be ashamed of.
Mm-hmm.
Literally any, unless they are, race play or something obscene like that. But yeah, I feel like people are just so quick to like harbor shame surrounding their fetishes, and a wish that I have, not only for like individuals, but just for like the world as a whole and just everyone in it, is I wish, the world would be such a better place if people were more easily able to like shake the shame surrounding their kinks. And that's kind of my thoughts on that.
CashVamp is here. Have you witnessed this wonderful speed dating?
I haven't, although I was going to go to one. There was a plan for me to go to one, a scheme for me to go to one. And I'm considering going to one of the like more queer ones just for the purpose of having like, I don't know, a potential like little tristy play partner once in a blue moon sort of deal. But I haven't been to one yet. But I have been.
I kind of want to. Oh my! I don't know if you're up for it, but I kind of want to put you two on an improv speed date.
Oh my god!
Would you do
I mean,
that?
that's every time we hang out. Basically, it's us going back to back to back.
I won't. This won't be too long. But here, okay. You just sat down.
Okay.
Right. You just said you could be anyone. Right? You don't have to be Mistress June or CashVamp.
Oh, are we speed dating now? Is that what we're doing?
If we were
Do we have
speed
any
dating,
prompts?
you know what I would do, Vamp,
What?
if we were speed dating?
What?
I'd probably just look you in the eyes for like 10 seconds and you'd be like, "Are you okay?" And then I would just face plant in your titties and like
Yeah,
not
no,
move.
constantly.
That's literally what would happen.
As if that's not what happens every single time we hang out. Like, let's be real, that
Exactly.
happens like most times when we hang out. And I'd be like,
Yeah,
so, like, do you like the dinner? Like, are you having a good time? And you just
I just put my forehead in them because it's really soft. So if I didn't know Vamp at all whatsoever, that is the first thing that I would do.
Yeah, that makes sense. That.
That was great. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. That was good. Thanks. Yeah. See, kink people, they improv. I mean, like improvisation. You're basically doing it. Living in the moment.
Yeah.
All right, Mistress June, you have a sensory signature. So, what scent, sound, or texture do you love incorporating into the session?
So as for scents, I think it's really fun. I have like lavender oil and things like that. And sometimes I'll give it a rub on my wrist and like while I'm having someone do deep breathing, I can like put my wrist up to someone and kind of engage their senses in that way. So that's really fun. I love the sound of like chains in someone's ear, if I'm like doing chain bondage. And then even like for textures, I think that like for instance in 50 Shades of Grey, which we both despise, the dominant at some point he uses like ice on the stomach. And I just think that kind of hot sensations alone are fun. Don't get me wrong, like hot wax alone is great. Ice alone can also be fun, but I adore seeing the bodily reactions when people are experiencing like kind of warmth on like their right side and then kind of like ice on their left side, and like just because what the brain doesn't even know what to fucking do at that point when it's like experiencing that dichotomy. So I think it's really fun blending those things and confusing people's brain.
All right. We're moving it along. No, we did that. All right. AI and kink. How are you evolving with AI?
That's a good question. I've definitely, I have friends constantly telling me that I need to utilize AI in like my contact form process, because it's kind of a process to like session with me. Like people need to fill out a form and then I have to reach out to them to schedule a consultation, and then they need to spend an hour talking with me to make sure that I can tolerate them and that they're not intolerable. And people have always suggested that I use AI to kind of like speed run. Maybe I set up a calendar and people are able to like schedule the consultation on their own through like some AI. But I haven't really utilized it yet. I should utilize it more, because speaking of being a workaholic, I think that I think it would cut an hour out of my day, probably, if I really knew how to utilize it well. And then once in a blue moon, like I'll use it to like write something if it's like quick or not really purposeful. So yeah. How are you? I've only asked you that question, but I'll let that be for another day.
I have to use AI. I know technology. It's just like the internet and just everything like that. It's going to be a part of our lives whether we like it or not. So it's like driving. You're gonna, sometimes you got to walk, but sometimes sometimes there ain't no other way around getting around. That's
the person that actually spoke at my graduation was like someone that basically like wrote or proposed some of the initial grounds for AI back in like the early 2000s. And by the end of the speech, they basically kind of were comforting us psych graduates, or rather humanities graduates in general. And they kind of felt very strongly about the fact that like AI isn't going to be able to seamlessly replace the humanities. And that reminds me of like kink, for instance, and just like things related to kink. I mean, sure, there's like AI porn, you know, like virtual play, but in-person experiences, or in-person kinky experiences, and like in-person BDSM, like that's not going to be like AI is not going to touch it super close, you know. It's not going to, and I think that I feel safe, you know.
All right, we're gonna have some fun. We're loosening up. We're coming into the last part of the show. Would you rather, Mistress June? Would you rather? You have to choose one or the other. You can't choose both. You can't have a little of one and a little of another. You have to either or. Would you rather? You go into a session. Would you rather have it all psychological or all physical?
All psychological.
All right. Would you rather? Would you rather experiment with new kink or do the standards?
If standards refer to what I'm comfortable with and what I'm good at, the standards.
All right. Would you rather? Would you rather have a detailed planned session or a spontaneous session that's kind of just happened?
8 times out of 10, a spontaneous session. That's usually the case anyhow.
And finally, the would you rather. Sensory deprivation, blindfolds, earplugs, or sensory overload, feathers, ice, hot wax, music, sound, smell, blah, 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 etc.
Sensory overload.
Sensory overload. All right, you're chronically working, chronically overworking. There's got to be some kind of self-care ritual that you do. I do every morning, and I feel better. I feel better every time I start the day with the self-care ritual. I'm not going to get into it, but do you have any self-care rituals?
I do. I try and reduce like my screen time an hour before bed. So I'll try and like read or just get off my screen, you know. Even like with the first hour I'm waking up is also an ideal time for me to not be on my screen. And yoga and stretching has also been extremely helpful in recharging and self-care. And also TRE, which I mentioned earlier, trauma release exercises have been like life-saving for me, literally. So yeah, those are my rituals of sorts.
We've got some comments. Randy Bateman, that's a great picture. Good questions, Nick. This I'm enjoying the screen. Thanks, Randy. PD says, "What's the most humiliating things you have done to a slave or sub goddesses?" They're asking both of them.
Yeah, we're both here.
I have. Do you care if I go? Because
No, by
I'm
all
really
means. You're
excited.
already on a
Okay.
roll. Get into it.
I hate listening to myself talk. Anyway, I at a play party recently, I brought someone. They were like tied and bound, and they were my slave at the play party, and they really love piss. So I brought them a cup of my piss, and I was like, drink this in front of everyone. And it was like a very small plastic cup, and they drank it. And then, did you know when you're a kid, you know how you can like get a cup and you can like suction cup it to your mouth and hold it there and do this, and then have it stuck? I like forced them after they drank the cup to just sit there with the suction cup to their face for like a half hour until they literally couldn't hold it there anymore. By far my favorite thing that I've done in the last 6 months.
I had a really excellent submissive who I saw who was into just like is really into disgust and is really into doing gross things. And I'm so fucking grateful that this is like the second time that I've done this with someone because the first time it didn't go over so well. Because we just like hadn't negotiated the particular details. But they really wanted to do strap play with me, and I was like, "Oh, what are you gonna do to like actually earn your pegging?" And they were like, "I don't know, I don't know, I don't know." And they were being very, very pathetic. And I was like, "You're gonna do something really, really gross for me." And I took a packet of of like Taco Bell hot sauce, like the super duper hot one, and I put it on the strap, and then I fucked their face with it. It was so good.
You were telling me about that one.
They were like gagging the entire time. They're just struggling. I was like, "Oh,
So
I
funny.
thought you really wanted it. What do you mean?" This is
Oh,
so
that's so
fucking
funny.
good.
That reminds
Uh,
me of. Oh, that's funny. I have
yeah.
one more thing came to mind because this question is fun and we're gonna take our time on it and no one's gonna fucking stop us.
Yeah.
I speaking of taboo kinks and kinks that people shouldn't be ashamed of, I got to do scat for the first time last week.
Oh, how was it?
Which I enjoyed it way more than I thought I would. And
Okay.
like after I like, you know, and it was like very minimal, like it wasn't very messy, I'll just put it that way. But like
Mm.
after I had wiped, I got to just throw the toilet paper on them on top of them while they were on the floor, like
Mm.
after. And that was like a very fun piece of that session. So
That's really cool.
humiliating, definitely humiliating as hell. Like I just got to call them very pathetic and gross the entire time and a pervert. So
I love that. No, I did piss play with one of my honestly like my favorite. I know you're not supposed to have favorites, but I did piss play the other day with my favorite sub, where I made them like wear like a cute little sissy outfit underneath their regular clothes and made them like piss themselves in their underwear. Very, very cute, very degrading.
Oh,
Very
that's fun.
demure.
I haven't done
It
that
was
yet,
so good.
actually. I haven't done like forced make a mess on yourself. I definitely should. Give me
You should.
ideas.
You should
I
get
should.
into it.
You're right.
I find it humorous that you find great pleasure in calling them a disgusting pervert as you throw your shitty humor.
Well, they're the one who is getting onto it, not me. So
All right. This is a question for both of you. You answered this before, CashVamp, but I think you're going to find inspiration with multiple people here. So, if there's a kink Olympics, what event would you have?
What event would I have?
Or just think of an event cool for a kink.
I mean, I feel like I would do like a Findom drain, right? Like I would just do like rapid fire Findom drain, like who can just like take a sub by their ankles, hold them upside down, and then shake them until their lunch money comes out.
oh yes. Oh yeah. Yeah.
All right,
I'm
we
down.
have some advice. We need let's see if we can yes, kink advice. Kink advice. All right, kink advice. CashVamp, I'm gonna take you out for a little bit. Hold on. All right, kink advice. You're straining someone up and their arm starts to go numb. What do you do?
I'm taking their arm out of their restraint. And usually I'm like, if they start to get nervous about that, usually they'll take their arm out of the restraint, and they'll shake it out a little bit. And they're like, okay, I'm ready to get back to going. And I'm like, okay. Otherwise, if it makes people particularly nervous, I really like to sit people up and like have people lay in my lap and like on top of me, kind of, as I'm like between my legs, basically, just to calm people down. But usually an arm going numb slightly isn't anything to worry about too intensely.
All right, kink advice. A sub shows up way too high. What do you do?
I think I'd have to turn them away for that day because I do have like a strict no intoxication policy unless I'm doing like forced intoxication as part of the session. Um, or if it's like very minimal intoxication, it's there's lines. If they're way too high, I'm gonna tell them I'm gonna turn them away. However, I'd probably let them put their deposit towards the next session.
Yeah. All right. Kink advice. A sub met somebody else, somebody online, and they want to give them all their money. What do you tell them?
I'm gonna tell them to fuck off and give that person all their money and see how good they feel after me not being in contact with them anymore.
All right. Rapid fire kink advice. A sub just keeps on talking about politics that you do not agree with. How do you address it?
I put my pennies in their mouth and I saran wrap their mouth shut.
Yeah. All right. It's oh, here's one. Dan Vladimir, if you could have the opportunity to make your own custom kinky toy, what would it be and how would you use it in a session?
Oh God. I think that I would make a whip that has like I don't even know. A whip with something funky on the end of it. And this is hard. Own custom kinky toy? Oh, I'm having a hard time with this one. Can we skip this one?
Sure. Brooklyn Night Life 9049 says, talk about living mass.
Do you know what this means?
No, I do not. So, S Mark -953. What are the ideal characteristics of a sub for you? That's a question. Thanks for that.
I prefer somebody who kind of doesn't question my understanding of what is best for them. Like, when I do the consultation process, people obviously are like encouraged to have like boundaries, right? Like I feel like well, there's two parts to this. If a sub comes to me with literally and they're like, I have no hard limits, I'm like, that's a lie, try again. Like read down that list because odds are you have a boundary and I'd prefer you to advocate for yourself. So I really prefer subs who are like, I love people who are of service to me, but sometimes it's too much. Like I need people ultimately to like be advocates for themselves, right? And like become better versions of themselves while they're working with me. So yeah, people that are interested in kind of like having a voice, but at the same time knowing when the fuck like to shut up and listen to me.
Oh, here's a good one. What's the longest you've kept someone locked?
Probably like a month and a week. A month and a week, because you all are fucking weak and you fantasize and think that you can go long, and typically people absolutely cannot. But like a month.
All right, that's a fair answer. Plastic, silicone, or metal?
I'm gonna have to go metal, with the open, kind of like with a lot of holes.
Yes, I'm wearing mature metal right now.
Nice.
Yeah. Metal's so permanent. I don't know if we haven't talked about this. I am, as always, at every show, I'm locked and dressed under the suit. And
As you should be.
you can get 15% off at lockedandless.com. Get advice is a great starter. Yeah. All right, let's keep it going. What's oh, this guy's on a roll. What are some rituals and protocols that you have your subs follow?
So one is that I love being able to control someone's vision during a session. I think that someone being able to look at me is enough of a fucking treat, and they shouldn't have that like pleasure to look at me the entire time. So oftentimes I'll train someone that when I snap my fingers, they have to shut their eyes, and if their eyes are shut and I snap my fingers, they are to open their eyes. So I like controlling the shutting and opening of someone's eyes with the snap of my fingers. If they have a hard time following that protocol, I just fucking blindfold them, but I like to see how they can, if they can actually fucking take it upon themselves to like listen and behave. So that's one ritual and protocol. And then another is don't speak unless asked a fucking question.
So Brooklyn Nightlife 9049 talking about living mass. That was in regards to Vamp's Taco Bell face fucking.
I knew it was, and I was taken out, and I was screaming. I was like, I know what this is about. I know what this is about. I love.
Stan Vladimir, if I were to make my own custom kinky toy, that would be a chastity device that looks like an alien chest burster. You do.
I haven't. I have actually an answer to this as well.
Right.
I've been thinking about sounding, and I had this fantasy text session with someone over my lubes, and they were like, "I would love to be sounded with your lubes," and I'm like, "There's no way. Like it's the edges. There's no way." But it'd be so cool if there were like shoes as a fetish object where the heel was like a sound. You'd have to like. I don't think you could wear them and like sound someone at the same time, because I don't think you'd be able to distribute your weight well. Like there's no way to like steadily increase, and like pedal with your heel unless you had like some other part of this to like help steady yourself. I think that'd be very, very hot. Very
Shout
very
out to my friend Ed Wood. He's like the resident sounder at the Manor. He's
cool.
so he's got a kit that's impressive. Let's put it that way. Yeah, heels. I'm sure he's got an answer to this quandary. I'm gonna get down to the bottom of it.
Please.
All right, Mistress June. Let's say you had endless resources. This is not just an event. This is your fantasy. Dig deep into your own kinky self. You have endless resources. You can go anywhere you want in the world with anybody you want in your world. Endless resources. What is your ultimate kinky fantasy?
So as a top, the first thing that comes to mind, and I think I mentioned this earlier, I would love to like, rent a private property that has an outdoor like pool, or even like not even a pool, but like maybe it's on the beach or like on the coast. And I think like I love doing breath play. I like waterboarding. I love all things breath play. And I think it would be very fun to like, just be able to kind of like be dunking someone's head underwater and like enjoy this beautiful view while someone's head and they're like squirming under my hand and I'm looking around. That would be very fun. I also really like the idea of being able to like ride a sub like a pony, but like actually use them for transportation. So like I get on someone's back and they quite literally take me to like somewhere that I need to fucking go somehow, some way. Maybe they have wheels. I'm not sure. And yeah, that's my answer to that, I think.
What's one kinky thing you've never tried but you're secretly curious about?
Mm. That's a good question. I think as a bottom, I'd be really interested in like very intense like predicament bondage. Like there's this one person, they go by the name like Lucas something, but they had a sub, like a woman, she had like a cinder block that was like attached to her feet, and if she were to like, I think it was like if she were to put her feet down, the cinder block would like fall on her chest basically. And I think really intense predicament bondage, honestly, as a top or a bottom would be very fun, if I had the setup for it. And I think too, yeah, that's the first thing that comes to mind. And then also, I really like the idea of like dental play. Like,
Oh
I
yeah.
normally I'll pose as like a doctor or a nurse, but if someone really get in their fucking mouth, oh my god, I would wreak havoc. I'd be like, the pokes. Can you imagine?
Yeah. I have quite an imagination. All right. Rapid fire recommendations. They don't have to be kink related. All right.
Okay.
So all right. Recommend a film. They don't have to be the be all end all of who you are. Just recommend a film
Yeah.
you think like.
Midsummer.
Oh yes, yes. I'm a huge fan of the Wicker Man, the original Wicker Man.
I watched the original Wicker Man a couple months ago. I
Did you
like. Yes, I liked it. I like Midsummer more, but I liked the Wicker Man for sure.
Well, Midsummer is more modern.
Of course.
I look at the Wicker Man as a snapshot. And shout out to Momus, the artist Momus. He made an album called Summer's Isle, which is basically like a weird supplement soundtrack to the movie, like 30 years later. All right, recommend a book.
What We Talk About When We Talk About Love by Raymond Carter.
Ah, okay. Recommend a song.
Oof. I'm gonna have to go. Don't Think Twice, It's All Right by like Bob Dylan.
Oh, nice. Okay. Brian Jonestown Massacre did a whole album. What's it? Bringing it whole back home again. Very Bob Dylan esque. The cover is even
Yeah.
like titles a very Brian Jonestown Massacre. Right. Recommend a meal.
Oof. I'm gonna have to go like a good grain bowl, or honestly a good fucking sandwich. I just had a really good sandwich. It had provolone cheese, broccoli rabe, spinach, and shredded chicken on it, and it was fire.
When it comes to Philly, Philly boy Roy, he always pronounces provolone. He goes provolone.
I know he does.
Bro, shout out to Philly. I love you, Philly. Love you, Philly. Awesome. All right. Recommend art, any medium, any person, living or dead.
Oof. I'm gonna have to go alive or dead. Art. I was like myself. No, I'm joking. I can't say that. I'm having. This is I guess I can go with another author, but I'm gonna go Sylvia Plath.
All right. Yes. Her and Ann Sexton. I I wrote a bunch of papers on both of them. My whole freshman year. This is how pretentious I was. My whole freshman year was like literature. In my literature career as a student, it was all about like suicidal poets. Female poets.
Yeah, Sylvia Plath. Aside from her suicidality and her, great weekends and yeah, literally amazing. So
all right. Word association. We're gonna play the word association game, Mistress June. I'm gonna say something kink related, and you say a word or a phrase. The first thing that comes to your mind. There's no wrong answer. There's no wrong answer. Okay. I could say chastity. You could say lock. But if you're thinking of grain bowls, I could say chastity, and you could say grain bowls. I'm like, all right, I'll go to the next one. There's no wrong answer. Okay.
Okay.
Right? Then there's the jar. I don't know what's in this jar. There's little pieces of paper. I don't know what I'm pulling out. So you and I, we're in this together, Mistress June. All right, you ready?
Yes.
All right, all right. Rapid fire recommendations. No, I'm sorry. Word association. All right, chastity.
Fear.
Corsets.
Tight.
Whips.
Sting.
Splashing.
Fun.
Riding crops.
Control.
Spanking bench.
Restraints.
St. Andrew's Cross.
Difficult.
Sissification.
Pretty.
Puppy play.
Puppy play. I'm thinking of bark or arf.
Okay. Face slapping.
Love.
Electroplay.
Sensational.
Toilet coffin.
Scary. Awesome.
It's a real thing, believe it or not. All right, I'm going to the jar.
Okay. Can you actually? What the fuck is it? Wait, pause. What the fuck is a toilet coffin?
Shout out to Mistress Claudia. She's having a little problem. One of her subs went out to have a vanilla relationship, and he left his toilet coffin in her dungeon. She doesn't know what to do with it. So basically, it's what you think it is. It's a very expensive, custom-made coffin where someone would sit down and where the Dom would sit down, and the sub would be in the coffin. But there's a hole.
That's fucking cool.
There's a hole. Yeah. Toilet coffin. Coming soon by YKF. Maybe we should start producing toilet coffins. We got to make some money in this thing.
I know. I want one of those. Who wants to buy me one? I want one. I'm actually opening my own personal dungeon. It's going to be very small scale, but I'm going to open my own space within the next year. So.
Oh, it's let's document this. Be part of it. Yes, let's document it. I'm sure we can go to Philly. We can document the whole thing, stream it. We can do live shows. It'd be great. Ball busting.
Yoga.
Ball. Here, I'll take you off so you can see. Oh, here's a good one.
Slimy.
Alien impregnation. Slimy. Okay. All right. Oh.
Recent.
And on that note,
it's a one word to one word was the rule, right?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Being said, here's the next question: how can kinky people make money? Not everyone is as beautiful as you, Mistress June. Not everybody has Philly at their disposal. Not everybody has this pandemonium army of kinksters. So people who don't have that, how can they make money?
BDSM furniture. If you do woodworking, if you do welding, make human-sized cages. If you're a woodworker, bed frames, custom bed frames with like restraints and hard points are always in demand. And especially, depending on who your sorcerer is, like, you might be able to make some profit. I think the implement market is a little bit oversaturated, like the kink implement market, unless you come up with something really unique. But I feel like BDSM furniture and like custom furniture that's like maybe even discreet, they have those mirrors and you open them up and they have a bunch of hooks in them and you can hang your implements in them. I think discreet kinky furniture or even blatantly kinky furniture is a good market to potentially get into.
That's a great answer. It's a great answer. And Vladimir has the stand question. If you could have any superpower, what would it be and how would you use it in your sessions? And next year, I want to know if her answer has been updated or changed since then.
Oh, I forget what my original answer was. I mean, honestly, I would love to teleport, and I would love to just be able to like quick take someone with me and like stick them in the middle of the woods and be like, all right, you're fucked. Time for you to be scared out of your mind. And then just yoink them back into the dungeon or something like that.
You're a woodsman now.
Yeah, congratulations. You're right here. I think that'd be so much fun.
You're a kinky park ranger.
You're actually prey now.
Mistress June, if you could have any superpower, what would it be and how would you use it in your session?
I think one of two. First thing that comes to mind is like invisibility. And I think if I were doing like a sensory deprivation session where the only sense someone had were like their eyes available to them, like kind of like coming really close to them and then disappearing and then not knowing where I'm going to show up to like whack them in the balls or from behind and the front would be really fun. And I also really like the idea of I said invisibility, mind reading naturally. If I could read someone's mind in the middle of a session, I would be able to break it from the outside in instead of the inside out.
That's where the psychology degree comes in handy.
Yeah, something like that.
All right, Mr. Oh, I want to ask you both before we wrap it up. I just turned 50. All right. both of you you're young and you have this youthful energy. The parties I go to are very mixed when it comes to age. I mean, everyone is either from the 20s to their 50s, some are in the 60s, you know, some in the 70s, right?
Mhm.
It's very varied. Pandemonium. When it comes to Pandemonium, what someone if someone is like some 50-year-old man who's respectful, he's got good references, and who's, you know, will they feel comfortable in a place like this?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're going to have a decent amount of like older people in our midst. I'm actually a little bit concerned about like the younger crowd, like early 20s, but I think, you know, people in their 50s should be fine.
Are they going to be adult babies? Are they going to be immature?
I mean, that really depends on how they show up. If someone shows up and they're like, "I'm going to be an adult baby," sure.
Now, one thing I'm always curious about is sissies and sissification, stuff like that. Mistress June, has your opinions or outlook of the sissification narrative, has it changed over the years?
It has. I used to think that sissification was, I don't want to say I thought it was black and white, but I used to think it was like there was one way to do sissification, right? Which was like humiliatory in nature, so like some element of humiliation, and it being like kind of forced or soft forced rather. But now I see sissification as like a grid, one scale on the grid being like, does someone just want it to be encouraged and be made to feel really cute and femme while they're getting dressed, or do they want it to be more forced? And then the other end of the spectrum to me is whether it feels or they want it to feel humiliating for them, or if they just like being fucking femme and like want to feel cute and like be praised and like be treated, you know, like a cute feminine person. So I think I now have a far more dynamic understanding of like, because people, you know, I feel like all the sissies and like people who are interested in sissification have such unique preferences in regards to that cross scale. So during the consultation, I feel like I've been taking extra attention and care to like making sure I understand what breed of sissy someone is.
Hmm. It's a very wise answer. All right, we're gonna wrap things up. Mistress June, we're all looking for something. Where do you want your kinky path to take you next?
As of this week, I want my sessions in the future to be just like far more psychological breakthrough driven, right? Like I want people to come to me for that. Like, you know, I enjoy the fetishists, they're fine, but like those who are submissive and really looking to like have breakthroughs, I think that when I have my masseuse licensure and when I have my TRE certification, I'm really so interested and excited to do body work for maybe the first hour of a session. And then the next hour it be BDSM and them just feel so loose and like open because they just went through all this like body work and like muscle release and like myofascial release. So that's going to be really fun. I think I'm going to feel like I have more purpose in the work once that is the case. And also, like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to open up my own space so I'll be able to host people at a personal dungeon. And that's going to be really fun. And I'll be able to control like the noise levels and like everything about it. So yeah, that's where my kinky path is going to take me next.
At Pandemonium, is there any chance that CashVamp and Mistress June may do a scene?
Potentially, we might get into it. We might have a little bit of fun. I think that we're really looking forward to spoiling our VIPs with a little bit of extra attention. That could be pretty good. I think we
Yes.
have only a few VIP tickets left, so better get on it.
All right. And everybody, please say the name of the website again. I had it on the screen the whole time, but please say the name of the website.
It's just underworld.events.
All right. All right. And all right, Mistress June, please complete the sentence. Life is
Turmoil. But in a really good way because after turmoil is often pleasure or, you know, satiation, whatever you want to call it. That's what came to mind. But for submissives who are under mistresses and owned by mistresses, half of their life is fucking turmoil, you know? We're torturing them. So turmoil and pleasure. Life is turmoil and pleasure simultaneously.
And in the chat, on a positive note, Brooklyn Nightlife 9049 says, "Go Birds!"
Go Birds!
Everybody, please go to Your Kinky Friends, yourkinkyfriends.com. Please support us with Cash App, YKF Tanic, Patreon, patreon.com, YKF. Get 15% off all the inventory Locked in Lust with offer code YKF. Lock them up and drip in that cage. The crotch rocket is great. I call it the saddle. It's a wonderful strap on. You put it on your chastity sub and you squirt in seconds. Great. And then Poppai Superfoods. I'm very picky about what I eat. I had a liver transplant. These things are awesome. You get 15% off. You can use this link. I don't know if it doesn't go up, but still. And also go to YKF, Your Kinky Friends on Spotify. CashVamp.
I know.
How can people get in touch with you? Any websites so you could just throw out there to promote?
Go to cashvamp.com. Go to my little booking and contact page. Email me about Pandemonium. I'll send you all of the URLs.
Mistress June, what about you?
My website is not as seamless as CashVamps, but you can find me on X/Twitter at Mistress_June8. And I believe my FetLife is also Mistress_June8.
I am so thankful that that both of you came on this show. I don't more and more, like I said, it's the connection that's more important to me. And seeing you, Philly, getting people together, getting kinky people together, doing your thing. Yes, this is inspiring. This is this kind of energy. This is what kept me alive. This is why Philly is keeping the kink community alive. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Shout out to Mia Action. Yes. Oh, I love Mia Action. What a wonderful. Oh, Mia, I love you. She's brutal. I'm scared.
She's the best.
I see her work. My balls twitch. It's like, have you seen it? Shout out to Mia Action. Everybody. It's Wednesday, but every day is truly a chance, an opportunity. And please read a book, everybody. Read a book. There's Your Kinky Friends. And the coolest way to kill yourself. No one kills himself in the book. It's a saying, although it does deal with kinky sex, hard drugs, and an endless amount of music references. I love you all. Be cool. Be kind. Keep an open mind. Take care.